everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Digital Transformation in Contract Manufacturing, a Leadership Perspective. I'm Heather Masaccio, your host from Pharmaceutical Online. Just a bit of housekeeping before we get started. If you have a question for our speakers or wish to share any thoughts of your own, you can submit it through the Q&A box on your screen. If you run into any problems with the stream today, please try refreshing your browser first. If your problem persists, hit the Q&A tool and submit a question. I'll help get you back on track. This event will be available on demand, normally within about 24 hours. You can just use that same link that you used today. Now, I'd like to introduce our speakers.
Hi, my name is Matt Lowe, Chief Strategy Officer for MasterControl, and I'm very excited to be joined by Lori Jackson today from PCI Pharma Services to talk to you about digital transformation in contract manufacturing. And maybe just a little bit about myself, and I'll give Lori the opportunity to say a little bit about herself, and we'll jump right into the content for today. So as I've already mentioned, I am the Chief Strategy Officer for MasterControl. We are a provider of quality management, manufacturing execution, and asset management solutions to the life sciences. And it's been my pleasure to work with Lori Jackson for a number of years now. Lori, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Matt. My name is Lori Jackson. My current role at PCI is a Senior Director of Global Digital Quality and Program Management. I'm a little unique in what PCI refers to as a boomerang employee. So I was here from 2000 to 2007 at the Rockford, Illinois site when it was formerly known as Anderson Packaging. And during that time, I had roles in validation and project management. Prior to returning to PCI in 2015, I oversaw recruitment and retention for the College of Business at Northern Illinois University, and I taught business statistics. And then I was also a project leader for Nissan Forklift and oversaw global projects such as ERP implementation and company merger. So today, I am the system owner for MasterControl across the PCI Pharma Services global footprint, which includes North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. I'm the quality project manager for CER global projects for the commercial and clinical business segments. And I have oversight of the Global Validation Center of Excellence team. I have a bachelor and master degree from Northern Illinois University.
My goodness, that is quite the resume, Lori. I don't know how you have any free time to do anything. So
I find some every once in a while.
Good. Well, I'm very excited to hear about your journey at PCI Pharma Services and your digital transformation over the past several years, and I'm sure what will continue into the future as well. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Lori, and let's hear about their story. Thanks,
Matt. So as Matt kind of talked about, we've done the introductions and kind of an overview of what we're going to do today during this webinar. We'll talk about organizational goals for PCI, kind of what our digital transformation roadmap has looked at, and then what it's going to be in the future. And then towards the end, Matt and I'll just have some conversation as well as take some questions from the audience. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you that aren't familiar with PCI, we're a world-class CDMO, contract development and manufacturing organization. Our focus is to provide world-leading customer experience, prioritizing the quality framework by incorporating expertise and innovations to ensure regulatory compliance and complete peace of mind. Today, we have over 1,300 customers. PCI's vision is that we are the trusted partner for all of those customers, providing clinical and commercial supply chain solutions in a shared goal of improving patients' lives. That's what it's all about for us, is improving the patients' lives. Our customers are currently in pharma, med device, and biologics. PCI really truly values the relationships that we've established with our partners over the years. We see ourselves as the client's bridge from molecule to market, from manufacturing to clinical trials to commercialization. And while you'll never see the PCI name on any product or packaging, whether it's on the shelves, in the pharmacy, or at the doctor's office, we touch nearly 25% of the world's top 200 molecules today. Some of the things that are very important to us with our customers is speed, flexibility, and trust. So speed, obviously, we want to get the product to the market. It's vital to our client's success and to the patient's lives. So some of the challenges, obviously, we've had challenges in the past, and our customers have had challenges, and we've worked together. So I just want to give you a couple of examples of what we've learned over the time with some of these challenges with the customers. So with regards to speed, we had a customer that wanted to commercialize their most important drug in the portfolio and partner with a pharma supply chain expert to execute a flawless launch. This drug received expedited FDA approval, and the timelines needed to move quickly. So as a solution, PCI supported the launch by advanced planning and support, packaging validation, and whip blistering packaging ahead of the drug approval. The PCI team executed a detailed project plan, robust supplier management program for a quick turnaround of printed components, final packaging, and delivery to our customer's distribution center. The outcome, we were able to ship over 11,000 cartons in just 4 days after receiving the components, and we were able to do an additional 3 lots that were shipped within week 1 to meet the initial launch and the market demand. Flexibility, we have over 2,000 products, certainly not 2,000 product lines, so we need to be very flexible in order to meet the customer's needs. One of our challenges in the past was we had a global demand for a vaccine brand that was higher than our customer could meet at their internal sites. So they knew that they would be in a capacity constraint within 6 months, and they needed help. So they reached out to PCI. As part of the solution, PCI built a custom packaging line and packaged commercial product by utilizing existing assets from one of our sites to meet the project timelines. Cross-functional technical teams from 2 of the sites were critical in designing a custom solution that fit the quality, operational, and timeline requirements. The outcome of this project was the deadline of 6 months from PO to validation was met. We have an operational capacity of 9 million annual units on a semi-automated line that was achieved. And we also implemented a fit team that used this as an opportunity to optimize changeovers and operational flow to support maximum throughput. And the other thing I talked about was trust. We talked about the 1,300 customers and their trust in PCI and getting their products to the patients. So the trust between PCI and our clients certainly does not happen overnight. But once it is established, PCI works very hard to maintain that trust. One of the challenges that our customer faced is they had an urgency to transfer a portfolio of bottled projects from a site they had sold to a sole pharma supply chain company. The solution was that we partnered with the customer, purchased equipment from them, and created a dedicated line to meet their unique requirements. PCI designed a project plan for transferring each product to the site in a timely manner such that we would not disrupt their supply chain. The outcome was that the customer was able to recognize a component's cost savings based on PCI's large volume procurement. We provided the customer with inline serialization capabilities, and we simplified vendor management through the site and production schedule control. As a side note, because of the previous products that had been packaged at PCI for this particular customer, No other contractors were considered for this project. So we take pride in that. So getting to our digital transformation journey, our journey is a bit unique. Not that everybody's is the same, but as unique because, as you can see here, we have had several M&As over the last 10 years. And another one actually that was just announced within the last few days. So that's not even on here yet. But as we've acquired these sites, we've really not done a very good job about integrating them into our existing systems, but rather have let them continue using their own systems. Now, obviously, this has come problematic and a bit of a deterrent to our one PCI concept. So we, as PCI, the leadership team, has come to the point where we know that we needed to start prioritizing the consolidation of these systems so that the sites and the employees could talk to each other. And we were comparing apples to apples when it came to deviations, metrics, on-time delivery, those sorts of things. So in the beginning, we never really formally defined what our digital transformation roadmap was going to look like. However, some of the first projects that fell under our digital transformation umbrella, if you will, were DocuSign, Smartsheets, and PCI Bridge. All three of these projects were rolled out and launched in 2020. DocuSign really became a must-have during the pandemic when PCI had a lot of their resources working remote. The benefits included e-signatures, electronic workflows, and functionality funnels into our customer portal. Smartsheets is, if you're not familiar, is a tool that has allowed our project management team to build project timeline templates and formats for consistency across all of our global sites. Some of those benefits included timeline automation, electronic workflows, client visibility, and project status funnels into our customer portal. And I mentioned our customer portal a couple of times. This is where I talked about that third project in the digital transformation, which is PCI Bridge. And that is our digital customer portal. It was developed to complement customer service and project management capabilities. And it really creates efficient and simple ways of working together. It includes real-time supply chain insights, digital collaboration tools, and organized data dashboards. The real-time supply chain insights includes inventory, production status, shipments. Some of the other benefits are document sharing, customizable client reports, and third-party synergies. So this is where we started because we knew that they were going to be quick wins for the business. But then we knew that we weren't going to stop there. We kept going. And the next two big projects that we needed to undertake were the ERP system and the EDMS, EQMS systems. So today we use JD Edwards as our ERP. And we had some sites that were still paper-based. We had some sites that were on different versions of JDE. And we had some sites that were using a completely different ERP system. So we initiated a global project to get all sites on the same system and the same version. And we also took this as an opportunity to create standard ways of working, as well as pulling out some of that customization that had been created over the years with different sites. So I've touched a bit on project management and the supply chain projects to support PCI's digital transformation. So now let's shift our focus to quality. So for the EDMS and EQMS, prior to kicking off the MasterControl project, PCI had 4 different systems at 5 sites, and 3 of our sites were still paper-based. So as a CDMO, PCI needed the system that was flexible, such that the needs of over those 1,300 customers could be met, needed to be trustworthy, and MasterControl is well respected within the industry, And lastly, we needed to be able to configure and adopt quickly in order to support those nearly 100 launches every year. So again, it goes back to those priorities that I mentioned earlier about trust, flexibility, and speed. So since the kickoff in March of 2020, we've implemented 6 modules. 14 of our 17 sites are live with some or all of the modules, and today we have approximately 7,000 active users. So since the kickoff, PCI has also acquired 3 companies comprising of 7 sites. So we're continuing to add both sites and users. We also have existing sites that are purchasing or building new facilities, and we have other M&As that are in process. So the MasterControl solution and the team has proven time and again that the system is really scalable with multi-sites and users coming on board. So for the legacy PCI sites, we had our doc module that first went live in October of 2020, and our last go live was March of 21. For the process module, all of our sites went live in August of 21. For the supplier audit and risk modules, all of our sites went live in May of 22. So these go lives for doc, process, and supplier audit and risk, we had about 1,200 active users in the system. But some of those immediate wins that we saw was it really eliminated the silos amongst the sites, and we were more collaborative in our efforts in supporting customer needs. Quality event management looked the same regardless of where it was initiated or what location it came from. We were able to standardize some ways of working. We all had the same document numbering scheme. We have a global approved supplier list rather than site specific. And then we brought on the training module, and that went live in August of 23. And that training module, when we brought that on board, that increased our users to over 5,000 active users. So we went from about 12 to 1,500 users to 5,000 users in the blink of an eye. But since I mentioned that since the kickoff that we have acquired 3 organizations with an additional 7 sites. So 3 of those are live with docs, training, and FBS, and 1 is live with docs and FBS. So we also built a facility from the ground up. It's live with all the modules, and our current user base is about 7,000 users. So we've had some significant growth since we started this in early 2020. But we always knew that MX was the goal for PCI. We wanted to get to MX, electronic batch records, production records. So we purposefully took this approach to get there. We had to make sure that we had a proper foundation before deploying MX. And so last year, we worked with MasterControl, and PCI was able to pilot a program for 1 customer and 1 product. And so to start that, MasterControl came on site for a week to our Rockford facility to start the build. And with the master template, PCI has been able to consolidate 13 batch records that supported 120 SKUs that were able to be ran on 4 different production lines, and we consolidated that into 2 production records. So it's really unbelievable what the tool can do for us. And while this was designed as a pilot program, the PCI leadership team has already made the decision to move forward, and I've already been able to develop a rollout plan for our 5 commercial packaging sites. So embracing all of these changes in this digital transformation journey and these new MasterControl modules for PCI, embracing it is not the issue. It's time and resources, which I'm sure all of you have those same problems. But PCI and our customers, they want everything up and running as soon as possible, whether it's MX, whether it's e-logbooks, whether it's the AI tools or AQAM. They're all very excited about some of these changes that are coming down the pipe. So from all the information I've shared, you can tell that we started where we were pretty much all over the place. You know, we were sharing SOPs, we were sharing batch records. Hey, send me that validation protocol, bogging down emails and everything. So what MasterControl has brought to us is really, like I said before, we've been able to tear down those silos and become more collaborative in our efforts to support the customer's needs. So another win that I want to get to with our digital transformation journey and with the MasterControl partnership is that now all of our sites are reporting the same metrics. So to better digitize the PCI metrics, we've actually created dashboards using the Smartsheets tool. So it's a combination of that Smartsheets that we implemented in 2020 with MasterControl. And anyone at any point in time can review the metrics for docs, for training, for FBS. So for the docs module, we have metrics that pertain to approvals, periodic reviews, or documents that have been sitting in the draft vault for too long. For the training module, you can see for each individual site, you can see training that's coming due, maybe training that's overdue, any periodic review of the curriculum that's coming up due. And for the process module, we have all the forms listed there. We can see if there were any events or deviations raised in the last 24 hours, if there was any critical deviations, if we have any change controls or MOCs that are coming up due, if we have a CAPA that's overdue. So now, like I said, when comparing metrics between the sites, we're really able to finally compare apples to apples. And it's proven extremely beneficial as now our corporate and site leaders can see the site results and they can take actions based on what they're seeing here in the metric dashboard. So this summarizes a few of the projects that have been included in our digital transformation journey. However, we have a lot of projects that are in the queue, whether they're active or currently under evaluation. And some of them, just to highlight a few of them, include rolling out our new LIMS system to all the sites with laboratories. We have a timeout or refrigeration solution that we're in the midst of implementing, digital line clearance, MasterControl's electronic logbooks, paperless validation, paperless calibration, a global asset management solution, and automation of incoming inspection for components. And we've also just brought on board a global solution for our manufacturing execution system. So that's not to say that some of these tools aren't already in place, but it's not the same system at all 17 of our sites. So PCI is really using this as an opportunity to evaluate our systems and determine what's right for us from a global perspective in order to continue meeting the client's needs and saving patients' lives.
Wow. That sounds like a very eventful couple of years, Lori.
Yes.
So I guess the 2020 you said is when it,
yes.
So it's almost 5 years in now.
Yeah.
Digital transformation is not an overnight kind of a thing.
Certainly not. But you know, it's just, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So you need to determine what the priorities are for your site and just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed by the enormity of what lies ahead.
Exactly.
Well, I think we have a couple questions from the audience here. One I think is a pretty simple one. You mentioned FBS. What is FBS?
So FBS is it's a MasterControl module. It's funny because in those 5 years, I think FBS, I've heard several names. It's the process module. It's FBS, which is field-based solutions, and it's also enhanced forms. So all of those terms are interchangeable, but what it really boils down to is it's MasterControl's solution for the quality event management. So you can have your events, your deviations, your CAPAs. We have MOCs, which is management of change or change controls, non-conformance, customer complaints, and out of spec, out of tolerance. But then what the tool also allows you to do is build your own e-forms. So we've actually taken this as an opportunity, and I think we have 3 or 4 e-forms now we've built a temporary exception request for plan deviations. We have an MCAR, which is Master Control Access Request. We have an ITCR, which we created for an IT change request. And we also have a JCPR, Job Code Periodic Review Form. So we've taken this as an opportunity to really harmonize and standardize some of these global forms that are used across the sites.
Yeah. Well, you didn't disappoint with a lack of acronyms there. We speak acronym in life sciences, don't we?
Exactly.
Very good. Well, thank you. The next question I saw here, and this one might not be so straightforward. You guys have been pretty acquisitive over the last 5 years. What does your process look like for bringing a new site into your digital systems?
Bringing a new site?
Yeah, so you've acquired a new site and it's time to harmonize, right?
Yes. It's unique, I'll tell you that. So so I mentioned that we have acquired some organizations throughout the years. We've had one of the sites that's been paper-based. We've had some sites that have been on a different QMS system that we've had to bring into MasterControl. And we've had a site that was on MasterControl, and we had to bring them into our environment. So it's certainly not a one-size-fits-all solution. But what I have done is that when we do get ready to bring the sites on board, and we do not do a big bang approach. Usually we do docs and training, and then we'll go to FBS or supplier audit risk or some kind of order like that. I don't think I could do them all at one time. But so what I've done is, as a module is getting implemented based on all the number of go lives that we've done in the past, I have created a checklist based upon our experience, and it's a living document, so it can get updated and things can get added. And it really gives a site a better idea about what their responsibilities are going to be versus what mine are from a corporate perspective, and what I'll take care of, and then what they need to take care of. So it's unique.
That's not one size fits all, right?
Certainly not.
Yeah. There must be some folks in the audience that have experienced similar challenges with trying to integrate a new site or a new organization. Mm-hmm. Well, I thought maybe at this point we could transition to some of my own questions.
Okay.
You mentioned the kind of 3 core principles there at PCI of speed, flexibility, and trust. Mm-hmm. How has your digital transformation journey really helped you advance those core principles?
Mm-hmm. So from a speed perspective, anytime you can get rid of paper, digitize something, it's always a benefit. The other thing that's been really beneficial for us, especially we mentioned the quality event management solution. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter for us if we have an event that's raised at our Australia site, at our Lyon, Spain, or Berlin, Germany, or somewhere in the US. They all look and feel the same. And we have gotten to the point where we share a lot of customers amongst our sites. So when somebody is used to seeing it in Rockford and then they go to Philadelphia, they're like, oh, I know what this looks like. Okay, that's good. So that's been really helpful. And the trust aspect is, JD Edwards, MasterControl, DocuSign, these are all leaders in the industry. It's not like they've never heard of these tools. So that really helps build that reputation and that trust between us and our clients that, okay, we're finding solutions that are well known in the industry and that can support our needs and our growth. And then flexibility, we have different business segments. We have a D&M, development and manufacturing. We have a clinical business segment and commercial business segment. And we're all different. I mean, we do embrace the one PCI concept, but just because I create an SOP for D&M does not necessarily mean that's going to be applicable to clinical or commercial. So, and also from a workflow perspective, from approvals, we are allowed to kind of make our approval workflows unique to support that particular business segment. And so MasterControl, as well as these other tools that we brought on board, are really supportive in that being able to be flexible to meet our needs.
Yep. I think that's one of the things we pride ourselves on at MasterControl is the flexibility of the tools. And particularly in that manufacturing space with electronic batch records and manufacturing execution, for a business like yours where there are 2,000 different products that you're doing different things with, how did you determine that the MasterControl tool was a good fit for development, clinical supply, and commercial production?
Right. Yeah. So when we started this, obviously, you have the long list of potential suppliers or partners, and then it goes down to the short list and even shorter list. So we evaluated 2 of the existing systems that we had in place, and to see what it would mean to get us to the most current revision and bring the other sites on board to either of those 2 systems. But what they were lacking was that EBR tool. And we knew, our leadership knew that that was the end game for us. Not end game, because we've still got more to go after that. But they knew that that's where we wanted to get to. And MasterControl had that robust tool that had already been established. And so we knew it was kind of a no-brainer, Matt, to tell you the truth.
Well, it's good to hear. Yeah. So you've got this system now where the QMS and the EBR are connected. What kind of advantages have you seen so far having those systems communicate so effortlessly with one another?
So as we've been in the process of building some of these master templates or production records, what we have found is, though, at this point in time, for the go live, we just want to get the EBR tool out and about. We're not doing any integrations with any external systems. So we're not integrating with our ERP system. We're not integrating with LIMS. We're not integrating with our environmental monitoring system. But what's nice about the EBR tool is that while we're not integrating with external systems, it still works very closely with the docs module and the training module and the FBS module, such that when you're creating that master template, you can link it to an SOP or to a work instruction or a job aid or a form that needs to be filled out on the production line. Or if your SOP is so critical that you have to make sure that your line leaders, your operators, your packers are trained on that SOP before they start any work, and they're not up to date on their training, it's going to prevent them from doing any work in the system. But yet it will just, if you click on the hyperlink for the training, it will let them complete the training right then and there. They can sign off that that's completed, and then they can go back and sign in and do the work order. So you can also launch an event or a deviation from your batch record. If you have a non-conformance of some components that are out on the production floor as you're running the line, you can take pictures right then and there and attach them to the work order. So there's a lot of different tools that are within EBR, but also that it works very closely with the other modules that are already implemented. And again, that goes back to why we made sure that we wanted this foundation in place before we got to EBR.
It's audit headaches avoided, right?
Yes.
Down the road. Yeah. how long does it take you to bring up a new master batch record for a product line?
So, ironically enough, we have a MasterControl configuration engineer here on site this week, and we are configuring a batch record. So what we have made the decision to do is we have templates based on some value streams. So we have a batch record template for pouching powder, or we have a batch record template for bottling tablets. And so we have this week, the first 4 days, we've built a kind of a generic template. And today, somebody says, you know what, I'm going to try that with this customer and this product. And I mean, this is the first week he's ever seen the tool, and he's already about halfway through creating a batch record for a specific customer. So it's only going to get faster and more efficient the more we work with it. It's very quick.
That's a PCI employee, not our configuration engineer, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So half a day of training and he's off and running.
He's off and running.
That's
and they're
great.
Very excited about it.
Awesome. That is fantastic to hear stories like that. Well, maybe one last final topic. And we couldn't talk about technology without talking about AI. And what is PCI's vision for how you will utilize AI in your operations to make your products better and come faster?
Mm-hmm. So we are going to be getting some equipment shortly that has what they call a line optimizer. And it has the capability to wear the AI glasses and kind of help you troubleshoot. Like if you're having downtime or if you have a jam or you need to do a line clearance, it's just unbelievable what tools are out there today. But so we're evaluating that right now. We have other tools that we're using, but obviously they have to go through our cybersecurity team and be vetted out, for security purposes. The AI tools that are inherent in MasterControl, we have played around with them, but we haven't turned them on yet just because we have so many other projects going on right now. But we're really excited about using the document translator. We have sites in Germany and in Spain, and their regulatory or their government mandates that documents be translated. So that's a really exciting tool for us, as well as the exam generator. The training team is chomping at the bit to get a hold of that. So we do plan to move forward with the MasterControl AI tools, but we're also looking at AI tools that will help us from a continuous improvement perspective, process optimization, troubleshooting the lines out on the production floor.
Yep. Yeah, I think what a lot of people, everybody's talking about AI and there's a lot of hype around AI. What folks tend to forget is that digital transformation is foundational to being able to use AI. If the data isn't digital, it's really hard to use an AI tool. So,
I don't know that it would probably be almost impossible.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what you guys have been doing at PCI for the last 5 years now really positions you well to be able to take advantage of the technology advancements that are happening, honestly, every week right now. I know here at MasterControl, we have a great deal of investment going into our AI tools. And what we'll be able to bring to the table to you even next month is different than what it is today. But having started with that data foundation and digitalization, that's the piece that people can sometimes forget about. And it's hard work. It's not easy to do.
It is not for the weak-minded, that's for sure.
Yes. Yeah, and I would never call you weak-minded. I think what you've talked about today shows your resolve and motivation to get these things done. I commend you guys at PCI for what you've done. I'm excited to see what you do in the future. And I think this has been a great session today, and I hope the audience has enjoyed it. Any final thoughts from you, Lori?
No, I just really appreciate everybody listening. And if you have anything else, feel free to reach out.
Very good. Well, thank you all for your time today, and we'll go ahead and call that a wrap.
Thanks, Matt.